to episode 41 of the Slow Crafting Podcast. My name's Nadine and I'm coming to you today from the northwest of England near Manchester. Just looking at my image on the screen and I can't believe how tired I look today. So apologies for that, but yes, let's crack on. Now this is supposed to be a bi-weekly podcast about knitting, spinning, crochet, sewing, a whole range of fibre crafts, and trying to incorporate them into a slow living or slow fashion agenda focus. But as if you are a regular viewer, you will have noticed I've not been around for the last few weeks. Yeah. I'm just trying to explain it without being overly dramatic about it. Basically, I lost pretty much my crafting mojo almost completely. I think I could sit and crochet, just mindless, treble after treble after treble, not really with anything intentional in mind, just one stitch at a time, and didn't want to pick up my knitting, didn't want to sew anything, didn't want to do anything like that. And part of the reason, the biggest part of the reason was that I was having some challenges to my usual body positivity. Now normally I'm quite comfortable with how my body looks. It's not the same as everybody else's, but then I wouldn't want it to be. But I have to say, at the moment, when I'm not wearing clothes, I'm very happy with what my body looks like. It's only when I try and put clothes on that I have a problem. Yeah. My weight has increased quite a bit recently. I'm not quite sure why, but as well as sort of making all my, well, not all, but a lot of my ready-made, well, like shop bought and me-made clothes not fit very well anymore. It was also giving me some other health complications, nothing drastic or serious, but just that were compounding my feelings of being run down and not in the mood for crafting and making myself things to wear. I think part of that is that a lot of the outfits that I'd sewn recently had been quite shapeless, so basically a lot of them hang off my bosom, which is really comfortable, but if you're already feeling a bit negative about your appearance, they don't really, or for me certainly, they didn't really do much to make me feel better about myself. So it put me off making these, because a lot of the other outfits that I'd wanted to make this year were very similar, loose fitting, free flowing styles. And I also was put off the idea, this started quite a few months back, because I know I mentioned before that last year I'd wanted to make an Alabama Chan inspired outfit, but then put it off because I didn't want to spend all that time making something and then not fitting it for very long, because my intention was to be slimmer. I'm never going to be a skinny size, but at the moment, for my health reasons, I could do with losing a bit, just so I don't sound like an old woman if I have to walk up a flight of stairs, groaning up my aches and pains and puffing and panting out of breath. But yeah, if you want a nice helpful discussion about body positivity in the making community, the Fat Squirrel did a really good one. I could probably do with rewatching it several times at the moment. But anyway, enough of my random ranting and moaning. Suffice it to say, all these complex and complicated feelings and everything else put me off making anything for myself. And it won't put me off making anything full stop. But just recently I have started to come out of the other side of that, and thought, right, I've got stuff that I could be making for other people, I've got bits that really needed finishing off that I started for myself, and I just need to suck it up and get on, basically, whilst I'm waiting to sort out my health issues. So with that in mind, I do have a finished object. Now, anybody who's watched for a while will possibly remember that I started the Ingrid sweater cardigan. I'll show you top from Rowan's Nordic Tweed. I've made, in fact, this jumper is also from this book. This is the Maver jumper. But I started this last April, and here's what it looked like in the pattern book. Now, my eldest daughter's called Ingrid, so I obviously had to make it. This book's quite old, I think it's about 2012, but along with my sort of a thrifty theme for the year, making things out of patterns and books that I already own was quite high up on the agenda, so I thought it still fitted in quite well. And also, finishing off projects that I've started is always a good thing. Some more pictures of it. There's the back. There's another one at the front there. Now, yes, I started this last April or something, last March, and didn't finish it off because I ran out of white wool, because I've done mine in blue and white. Blue is the main colour, white is the contrast colour, and I ran out of the white wool twice actually. I ran out of one lot and then found some more that I could use and did a bit more, and then that ran out. I think I had about 2 inches left to go on the back and it sat there for the best part of a year, not being worked on. So earlier on this year I went and bought some more white. It's not the same, but I don't think you can necessarily tell, obviously, where I've changed yarn, and I finished it off. Now, this pattern, here it is, finished in all its glory, and this is the back. I will insert a picture here of me wearing it with the dress that I originally made to go with it. Now, this cardigan jumper thing was meant to be knitted in pieces and knitted flat. So I think I knitted this section at the front flat and the 2 stocking stitch bits flat, because basically it's just a series of rectangles. It's awesome. But then it was really slow going on the colour work, so I decided that I was actually going to knit the other colour work sections. So this one, oh, I think on the camera you can see a bit more about where I've changed yarns. So this colour work section and the back section I worked in the round and then steeked it afterwards, and that went a lot quicker, but my tension, my colour work tension is actually better on the one that I worked flat, even with all those pearl stitches. Yeah, so there is some slight puckering on the sections that I worked in the round, but I'm not sure if that was just because the smaller motif isn't as puckered as the larger motif, so I think it was just possibly something to do with the motif size as well. And it went a lot quicker steeking it, and actually I was really calm about taking a pair of scissors to my knitting afterwards. I think it has become just an ordinary part of my knitting now, and I'm quite happy and confident doing it. But I absolutely love it. Now, I do have an urge to do this when I'm wearing it, just because of how the front bit folds. I know it's very childish, but it's fun. One thing that I will say about it is that the instructions for piecing it together weren't particularly clear or helpful, because basically I've got quite a narrow neck opening on this at the back, and all it said was sew the shoulder seams together, so I did, and then when it came to picking up the number of stitches it said to, I had nowhere near enough space to do that, and that was because I was supposed to leave a gap of about probably 2 inches, maybe 1.5 inches on either side, and then have that as part of the neck opening as well. But you can only see that from looking at the photographs. It doesn't give you any kind of measurement as to how big that bit should have been. So that was the only sort of little complaint I had about it. Other than that, it's beautiful. Now, it's not flattering, but I don't mind. I do feel a bit like Bella Emberg if I look at myself from the side, because it is just very much bosom shelf straight down. But because if I look at myself from the front, because of how it drapes and folds, it is actually less Bella Emberg than it is from the side. You'll see from the picture anyway. I don't think I'll knit another one, but I quite like the idea of random rectangles and then piecing them together to make a different top. Anything that avoids shaping is always a joy. But yes, if I get this to lie properly on the front, the crossover section, I do really like how that looks. But like I say, if I've got one that's open slightly, I do want to open them both up. But yeah, work as a breastfeeding top. There we go. So that's that. That's finished. Now, I realise I've already knitted 2 things out of this book, and it is quite old, but there is another top that's really simple and that I do think I could get my head around knitting at the moment, even with all my complicated body issues. I'm just trying to find you a big picture of it. Oh look, matchy matchy. Not quite, obviously I've not got a polo neck on this one. Oh dear me. trust it to be near the back. Yeah, here it is. The Elena. Now this is just some straightforward garter stitch knitting. Wear it as a little jacket over the top of your clothes. Although I have to say this does look a bit wonky because it doesn't look like the hemline sits straight. But this looks quite straightforward because it's, again, pretty much rectangles with a bit of shaping around the neck on the front one and garter stitch. And I should have enough blues and browns in stash to be able to do that. So if I can bring myself to do any more knitting for me, I will be casting that on. Now in the meantime, I have knitting to finish for other people. Just let me find this swatch. This is a swatch of a jumper that I'm going to knit for my brother. I need to go up a needle size when I do the colourwork section, I realise that. But yes, this is going to be a self-drafted jumper for my brother that I knitted the swatch, I think most of the swatch for that at Christmas time. I just haven't got around to doing it. But yes, so that's going to be going on my needles today once I've worked out the gauge and then my cast on number for that. And then other than that, as I need to finish the, I can't remember what it's called. It's the Andy Satterland cardigan. Viande, possibly. I should put it under here. Yes, the grey BFL Andy Satterland cardigan with the lace panels at the front and the lace section at the back. Now, I'm knitting that for my mum, and I've finished the body and I've done all of one sleeve, and I just need to pick up and knit the second sleeve and then do the button band at the front, and then it's done. So I think they're my 3 knitting projects for on the go at the moment. I'll have a think about my sewing projects, because I could do with doing some sewing for other people as well. Oh, and I do have one more finished object to show you, but this is spinning. Right, this has been a long time coming. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. Yeah, you can see the colours. It's sort of black with flashes of navy blue and dark green in. And this is some, it smells of sheep, some fibre that I bought from Countess Ablaze back when she did a lot more fibre than she does now. So I've had it in my stash for nearly 5 years because I actually ordered it online whilst I was in labour with my youngest child. How to distract yourself after your waters are broken? Buy fibre. But yes, but then I started spinning it last year, and then for some reason went off spinning for a while. But I decided, right, I needed to get this finished because I've spun a lot more this year, but they've all been sort of single skeins and bats and things from the shop that's local to me. But I thought I better finish what I start. So this is 350 metres of, it's probably about a sport weight actually looking at it, and it's just shy of 200 grams. I do a very dense yarn. It's lovely, and I know the stuff that I spun last year I must have spun a lot finer because I spun 100 grams of it last year and 100 grams of it this year, and then plied it at my spinning meeting at the weekend. Now, given that there was 100 grams on each bobbin when I was plying it, you would have thought that there would be no yarn left, no fluff, no singles left over. However, I had enough singles left over on one bobbin to do this. This is now plied on itself, so this is a 2-ply now, and this is, yeah, probably a lot finer. This is more of a fingering, maybe even a heavy lace weight in some places, but I don't quite know how much is there. But yes, that was the bobbin that I spun last year. So I've got 350 metres here, and then a slightly lighter weight unknown meterage here. So yeah, that was productive spinning, although I did break myself because I sat and plied for 3 hours in a chair that I wasn't used to. When I plied that up, it was just constant, and then I ended up with back pains so severe that I took some painkillers and went to bed for 2 hours. So yeah, do not do as I do and sit and ply craft for hours on end without moving. Get up, move around, have a break, do something different. Don't break your body just to finish plying something. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. I mean, most of my sewing this month is probably going to be mending things, because the mending pile has got well out of control. But as it's Mend It May as well as Me Made May, that's quite timely. I think next time round I will give a summary of what outfits I've worn for Me Made May, and how that fits into my slow fashion agenda as well, because it's not all about making new things to be wearing all the time. Some of my Me Mades have been made in my wardrobe for years. This one I knitted when my oldest was tiny, so this is 6 years old. I've worn this, but this is a matter of weeks old. Not even that, I don't think. I'm showing you the inside where I've not woven something in. Just close like that. Yeah, so I'll probably talk about that next time. Alright then, thank you for listening, and I will hopefully speak to you again soon. Bye bye.